What's going on, you guys? On this channel, I try to always keep my information that I give you guys relatively simple and really straightforward for the average person. That's just because I'm an average person. I can easily overcomplicate things, so I need to make things as simplistic and as dumbed down as possible. And exercise and fitness is one of those things that can be overly complicated, but really does not have to be. A big rule or concept that I try and apply in my own life, which granted I'm not always successful at doing, is trying to figure out what are the simple few things that take up the majority of the results. And this won't be the same for everybody, but I started to think of like, what are the top exercises that I do in the Total Gym, or most used exercises that give me the most results on a Total Gym or sliding bench trainer. Now this could possibly change, but honestly over the past few years, these are the exercises that I use pretty much in every single one of my Total Gym workouts. Now one little caveat to this is that what you guys are gonna see are all upper body based exercises. I kind of share with you guys in recent videos that I started transitioning a lot of my lower body work to just doing some more free weights. Even though in some recent stuff I still do use my Total Gym for my lower body workouts as well. But as I've shared with you guys before, I really do think these sliding bench trainers predominantly really shine in the upper body department. So whether I'm doing a total body workout, which I still do from time to time, or I'm doing an upper body workout, all these exercises I'm going to share with you are always included in every single one of my workouts. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you guys for this video. It's not just to simply show you guys, well, here's what I do and what you should be doing, but more so just encourage you guys to find those exercises that really work for you, that give you the biggest bang for your buck and time efficiency when you're using this equipment. So please share down below in the comment section, what are your like 3 to 5 big exercises that you feel like you can't live without whenever you're doing your workouts. I know myself and other people watching the channel would love to kind of hear that. Now there is another video I've made, which I will link down below, which I share with a lot of new people to this channel that I always divert people to, that I think are really the only top 8 exercises you really need to get results on a Total Gym. And so this is kind of a follow-up video to that, further simplifying the idea that just trimming the fat. And for me personally, these would be pretty much, again, 5 things that I would include in every single workout that I pretty much could not live without, versus there are some things in that video that I kind of apply to a bigger audience, that some things I don't include in every single workout, but these would be my personal top 5. Even though these are my top 5 exercises, I pretty much would bet money and go on a limb here and say that I would guarantee that most people would get really good positive results, assuming you had the ability to kind of do these exercises, you did them consistently, that you would see positive change in your upper body specifically if you just did these 5 simple, straightforward exercises. Now, the first exercise I will get into, which I would consider kind of the king exercise of the Total Gym, not everyone kind of feels this way, but I'll explain my point in a second, is the just basic chest press on a Total Gym. So you kind of got to hear me out with this. Also with all the exercises I'm talking about, you'll see that there's a variety of different positions and angles and ways to work each of these basic exercises I'm going to explain. So with the chest press, I like just kind of setting up doing a basic press, but pay attention that in this video, I even changed the cadence, the rep speed, number of repetitions, number of sets, adding external weights, resistance settings, incline settings. And even though I'll mention later on why I don't include the inverted press, the shoulder press in these workouts, and some of that is because with doing this basic chest press, you work a lot of muscles really from a number of different angles. So I might do a straight press, kind of pressing through the chest line. I might do something where I'm doing more of an incline press. I might kind of bring my arms a little bit closer together. That kind of works other angles in my chest, and also kind of feel it more in my triceps as well. So by doing this basic movement that, yeah, most people think of as like just working their chest, you're working your chest, for sure working your deltoids. I mean, a lot of stuff I feel is a lot in my shoulders that, again, I'll mention this towards the end. I don't think you have to do as much shoulders as you necessarily think, that if you're doing a lot of focused chest stuff in this type of exercise setting, this type of movement pattern, you're likely going to work your chest, you're going to work your triceps, and you're going to work your shoulders really effectively and efficiently. So already you're covering a lot of bases and muscles just from this foundational basic exercise, assuming you try up and kind of vary the different angles and positions. And you could do this on, from set to set if you really wanted to. Now the second exercise really just complements the chest press, where now we can really focus on those other body parts on the back side of our body. And I'm just talking about a basic seated row on a Total Gym. So again, couple little caveats here. What I like to always do when I'm doing any basic row, I didn't emphasize this in my top 8 exercise video either, is that I always like to kind of cross the grips. I mean, with any kind of row, I very rarely will grab it in like a neutral straight setting. I always kind of cross the grip. This allows me to get a little more range of motion, but just like with the chest press, I will vary the way I row. I'll pull a more like neutral. Sometimes I'll pull a little bit higher. Sometimes I'll sit up a little bit higher on the machine to engage other musculature in my back. Just like how I said, all those different angles in a chest press can essentially really work your deltoids and shoulders in general, instead of not necessarily needing a vertical like shoulder press. Same thing goes with all these different rows, that I find that if I do a lot of different variety of rows and positions, I don't necessarily really need to even set up the pull-up bars to even do like horizontal, or I should say vertical type pulling or pull-up type motions. I really feel like I can adequately work a lot of my backside, just changing angles and positions. Certainly you can work your biceps. Now this is something, depending on the person, they might feel like they need a little bit more tension. The easy solution for me, just throw on some external weight and you're pretty much good to go. But by doing this exercise from all those different positions, and by having that cross grip, you really increase that range of motion. You work your lats, you work your rhomboids, you work your traps, you're working your biceps, you're working the posterior backside of your deltoids. Again, getting tons of bases covered in one fundamental movement pattern. The next exercise really ties together any kind of loose ends you might have missed out on from doing any kind of chest press movement pattern or the basic rowing movement pattern. And that's gonna be this kneeling or prone face down pullover. I know a lot of people like to do the supine pullovers, kind of pulling straight up, and that's obviously a definitely good option. Sometimes that actually feels better. But what I really like about this is it still kind of works that vertical range of motion in the shoulder. So while we're doing a lot of good pressing and pulling up in here, doing this pullover from this position, I feel like works really well in just working that range of motion in the shoulder. Again, a little emphasizing and tying together some more loose ends in the lats, where now you can really stretch out your lats this way from a vertical position instead of more horizontal going it this way. So as far as the tying together the whole upper body, I think these 3 exercises are just a perfect kind of trifecta of things to always include, and I always include them, even unconsciously. All these things, I don't even have to think about it. I just know they kind of flow really good together. And just from a position standpoint, seated doing a press, doing the row this way, the next logical thing I always feel like is I kind of want to lean over and grab the handles and kind of go into that pull down. These next 2 become a little bit more personal preference and just kind of what I like. If you guys see my thumbnails, odds are you definitely see me in this position, and a lot of times that's just because I do this position so much. I like this position so much. I do it in almost, like I said, every single upper body workout that I do. And I've raved before how awesome this machine is for doing arms, and that is this kind of kneeling, I would say kind of like at an angle, kind of facing away from the tower, curl. I'm always making sure I got this good line of action. I had a whole arm video on this that I could kind of explain the details of why I think this is so important. I recognize this is a position that for a lot of people has a hard time really struggling to actually get into. They feel kind of off balance. I always say for people, definitely work your way up to it, but this is one of those good progressions that's kind of like a milestone for some people. If you can feel comfortable in this position, obviously take the stuff at your own risk, don't force it. This is my tried and true arm exercise. This is the exercise that I feel like really builds the arms, really taxes the arms. Unlike any other exercise or machine that I know that's ever existed, honestly. If you had to have me pick one top bicep exercise I had to do for the rest of my life, this would be that exercise. And again, this is just my personal preference. I just feel like it works so good, it feels so good, especially when you start adding external weight, add some resistance bands. You can tailor it to kind of fit to you, but this is one of those exercises, wherever I kind of put in the order of things, it always just feels really good. And it is just one of those positions that I just like to kind of transition into, especially when we start talking about those first 3 exercises we did. To me, it's always kind of like a logical position, especially after that pullover, to kind of turn around, kneel on the machine and kind of do those curls this way. And then kind of to complement the arms, I would say this is one that I honestly really debated. I'm like, do I really want to include this? Do I really think this is really a top exercise? But if I'm honest with myself, this other exercise I do in every single one of my workouts. Again, it's upper body focused and pretty much using the Total Gym in general, is kind of like the kneeling face down on the machine tricep extension. My previous top 8 video, I talked about how a supine laying on your back works for most people, especially the fact that you can kind of use your legs. Not everybody can get into this bent over kneeling position. But for me, again, I made a whole video about triceps as well. That line of action on the machine, just like with the bicep curl in the previous exercise, this one to me always feels like the best tricep exercise. Sometimes I'll even do like a mini pull down to kind of work the lats, but also to kind of stress the triceps a little bit as I kind of go into it. This is one that I can understand for some people, again, the position, but also stress on the elbows can be a thing. Sometimes I have felt that in this position, but a lot of times it's just a matter of lowering the tower height and it feels really good. So just one of those exercises, I had to be honest with myself. And you would think why would I put 2 arm exercises in this top 5? You totally is definitely not necessary. I just think, again, it really shines, the arms really shine. I like working my arms. It's something that I've always, since I was a little kid, loved working my arms. So this is part of the things that's kind of like a guilty pleasure. Not something I'd say you'd have to include. This is definitely something where if you have other goals, other weak spots, you can kind of trim the fat in all these areas, because we are doing for the pressing and the pulling. You are going to be working your biceps and triceps anyways, but if you want that extra oomph, you want something that's going to be a little more of aesthetically pleasing, some top exercises, these top 5 would be the way to go. And just as an honorable mention that I almost was like, I really should include this, but again, maybe kind of reflect on a couple things, and maybe I'll make a whole nother video about this. The inverted press is so awesome. It is such a foundational, great movement pattern to just work the basic shoulder press exercise. It feels good for pretty much everybody. A lot of people can get into this position and vary the intensity so it works for them. It is a great exercise. If I'm doing shoulders that day, a lot of times I will put it on there. I've said before, if I'm doing upper body day, sometimes I'll fluctuate how much shoulders and how much chest to emphasize. But more often than not, what I've been finding myself doing is kind of neglecting this exercise a little bit, and because I've been feeling and recognizing that through a lot of different angles of my chest pressing. Yes, I do think there's importance of kind of getting this range of motion, doing like a regular standard shoulder press type movement pattern. I've just been finding that I don't think it's as necessary as I thought, at least for myself, as far as for developing and building my shoulders, when I kind of consider all the different pushing patterns I'm doing and even the pulling patterns working the opposite side. So I definitely think it's something awesome, but for me, this is one area that more than recently, I've been kind of trimming back a little bit and not having been including as much because I just don't feel like I need it. So that's it, you guys. Again, this might be a little controversial, but assuming you're doing other physical activity and movement throughout the day, whether it's like household chores, other light exercise, doing some lower body stuff for your legs, whether it's cardio or whatever, if you want to build like good upper body aesthetic musculature, you're looking for a really simplistic way of using this machine, I am very confident this would pretty much be almost all you would need to kind of go out of your way to actually build your body in a positive way. Granted, I totally understand that not everybody can get into these positions and make these exercises work, but the point of this video is to find those exercises that work. Find the exercise that can save you time, trim the fat in your overall workouts, and just find the most efficient way to use this equipment. So as always, you guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.